Hello, my YouTubers. I wanted to make a video talking about how tarot functions, how it works, and most importantly, how it's working in the virtual visits in this virtual world that we're having to be in right now. So I did get a really good comment on my TikTok that said, well, like, how do you put, your energy into your cards, and like, how does energy go into the cards virtually? And I found that to be really interesting because I don't put anything into the cards. Tarot cards to me are like a pond, and you go up to the pond and you look in the pond, and you are essentially, you're in the pond, but you haven't actually put anything in there. It's just your reflection. So essentially what tarot is like for me is that I take you and I hold you over the pond, and I look in that reflection, what's being reflected, and then I give you that message. Sometimes it's hard to see ourselves and see situations clearly because we're too close, right? So tarot is a wonderful tool to do that. Now, virtually, I am having to be really creative in how I connect to my clients. And so if you have read with me in person, you know that I have you cut my deck. I know there's a lot of tarot readers that would be really throwing things up in the air right now, which I never understand, where they're like, no, nobody else can touch your deck. I find that to be such a ridiculous notion. That deck is its own entity, and the fact that you're trying to own it, like, what are you gonna pee on it? Like, it's just weird. And so I love that people touch my deck and cut their cards. Now, it's very specific what they do to it. They don't shuffle it. I leave that for me because it's a personal thing that I do with my card, almost like kissing. But it's almost like you cutting it is kind of giving it a hug. It's reading you. So how I'm doing this in the virtual world is I'm actually cutting the deck during my virtual tarot readings, and the person that I'm reading for is telling me when to stop. And so that connects them and their intention to my cards, and me and my intention to my cards. And it's working out lovely. I haven't had any issues connecting with spirits that are around people that I'm reading for virtually. I've had a lot of great people go through and be able to communicate some messages. Now, I will tell you that not all tarot readers are mediums, and not all mediums are able to connect with whatever spirit you're trying to connect to during a visit. For instance, I did a virtual tarot visit last night, and this woman really wanted to connect to one person, which she told me what her name was. Obviously, I'm not going to tell you that. I don't want to give any identifying information. But she had another relative coming through that was so kind of loud and proud. Like, I could not get around this woman. She very much wanted to communicate her message. She wasn't really letting anybody else come through. She wasn't listening to my questions. She just wanted to say what she wanted to say. So that's something to keep in mind before you do any kind of a reading with a medium or a tarot reader, is to know that, sometimes you kind of go in with what you want to hear about, and that's not necessarily what's brought through. Oftentimes spirits bring through what they find is most important, or something that's most dire, like something that's about to happen, and or that you're not in a good place and they want me to know that, or they think that you feel like you're alone and they want you to know that you're not. So I just wanted to answer that question for you guys about how tarot functions for me. And I don't know a whole lot of other readers super personally, so I think it would probably be different for everyone. But that's the way it is for me. Another thing that I wanted to talk about is this recent discovery of another dimension that's running backwards, right against ours. And I am so glad that science is now busting through this and acknowledging this. I will tell you, as a psychic medium and as a tarot card reader, that backwards feel, like everything is like the upside down. When I saw that in Stranger Things, I was like, oh my God, like, because that is so kind of relative to reaching through the veil, which is what I do when I communicate with spirits. And so the fact that science is now discovering and acknowledging this backwards dimension that's right up against ours, that's amazing, because it does feel like that when you're trying to talk and communicate with spirits. And there's more than one. I feel like there's like almost 4 layers, and the farther you go through to try to communicate, the harder it is. And so sometimes I think that some spirits are so far that that's why we're not able to reach them or able to communicate with that particular spirit, while others are closer to the dimension that we're in. And the dimension that they're in is closer to ours. And that's why sometimes it's easier for me to reach out. Sometimes it's easier to hear them. They're clearer. They come through more just clearly. Even the physical images that I get are clear. And then you've got the ones that it almost sounds like they're mumbling, like I can't hear them. When I communicate with them through these veils, it feels like I'm screaming through water. I am talking as loud and as clearly as I can, but it's like if you were to do it through water, it's so muddled. It's like trying to break through a wall. So it's challenging, but I just wanted to talk about that too, because science is like validating things that mediums have been screaming forever. I also wanted to thank everybody who has been doing virtual readings, and thank you so much for letting me be up in your life, peer into your life. That's so personal. Thank you for letting me offer you guidance and get to know you a little bit and get to know your spirits and who's with you, for those of you who have had people come through. And I'm just so appreciative, and I'm so proud of how you guys are handling these insane stresses, and all of y'all guys that are just putting on this brave face. So many of my virtual tarot readings, y'all guys have put on such a brave face, and you're going through some of the most challenging things, and my heart breaks for you. But you're brave, and you're strong, and you're wonderful, and thank you for allowing me to be in a moment with you and be a part of you in a way. So y'all guys hang in there. I'm gonna go to the pool with my weird mask with my kids and just try to social distance and let my babies have some fun. So y'all guys have a wonderful day. Bye.